And by the way, this video is shot on June 1, 2011 to bring everyone up to speed on when this all took place. When I expressed all my concerns regarding all of this stuff on paper and sent it to the appropriate people, I was met the next day, August 7th of last year. I was met by management and I was threatened with eviction because I complained too much about things. I was also followed around the barn and harassed constantly for 3 days straight, from the 7th of August through the 10th, repeatedly being told, this is my house, you'll do as I say, you'll listen to my rules. You know, talking to me and treating me as if I was a piece of garbage when I'm paying this person $800 a month to make sure my horse is fed and taken care of. Although I don't have any problems with the way the feed is adequate, the hay is adequate now, and the shavings is adequate, that's not my complaint. My complaint is the fact that there's nobody here. This barn is open to the general public during the day, which means that the general public passing by has access to the barn. For those of you who don't know these animals, are inquisitive, and could quite easily be bit or injured. 2 weeks ago I found a man in my horse's turnout. He was a bird watcher from the Bird Watching Society looking for birds. I had to ask him to get out of there, because if anyone gets hurt up here, it becomes the responsibility of the owner of the horse, and the owner's insurance company would have to pay. Also, you have to run the risk of people coming in here and tampering with your tack or these animals, because they'll tell you that they're not responsible for any of this stuff. They also had in their lease agreement, they had a clause stating that if you didn't pay your rent within 90 days, that they had the right to assume your animal as payment. I, of course, do not have a lease agreement. I would never sign an agreement like that. My animal means a lot to me. Although there are 3 boys on staff here, there is a severe communication issue because they don't speak very good English, nor do they understand well. A lot of communication has to be done through signing or trying to make them understand what you want, which isn't right. In the event of an emergency, there's no one for you to call if you're the owner here of a horse. I've asked them why they can't put anybody in the office, and they said that they didn't make enough money to pay somebody to stay here. This is wrong. The public at large is at risk by coming through the facility and quite possibly getting injured. Somebody has to take responsibility for this because it's simply not right. I was also harassed when I keep my animal's vitamin supplements and medication for his arthritis in the feed room. And I was told I can't go in there. Now, I have to keep an eye on the supplies because they come from Virginia and they have to be ordered. When this stuff runs out, the boys don't tell me, I am out of this stuff. So therefore, I don't know unless I go in and check. I have every right to go in there and do this because it is my animal's supplements and medication that he needs. At one point, they had the sheriff's department escort me out of the barn because they said I was trespassing. These people, quite frankly, don't belong in this type of business at all. You're dealing with the public, and I'm paying board. I don't think it was fair or right that I was treated this way. On average, I am at the facility 6 out of 7 days a week, spending a total of 4 hours with my animal. I ride, and I make sure that he's taken care of. I live nearby, and I take mass transit, New Jersey Transit, to and from the facility because I do not drive. Some of you may ask, well, why don't I move? It's not that easy to move this animal to another barn, seeing as that the nearest barn is 45 minutes to an hour away. I live in the county. I'm a county resident, taxpayer, voter, and I have tried to confront everybody within the county on the problems I'm having up here, but they insist that I'm nothing more than a troublemaker and refuse to do anything about anything. Most recently, because the weather's starting to get hot now, it's about 80 degrees now, I had complained 3 weeks ago to the SPCA in these back paddocks, paddocks number 16, 17, and 18, They usually keep horses. There's one out here now. There is no water out here. These animals are outside from at least 8 to 9 o'clock till 2 in the afternoon. As early as yesterday, 31st of May, a woman passing through noticed the animal had no water and came into the barn and asked me why, and I said I didn't know why it doesn't have any water. She insisted somebody take a bucket of water out to the horse, or she would. I confronted the SPCA about 3 weeks ago with this complaint, and they said it did have some backing and they would investigate my complaint. However, it's 3 weeks later and nothing has been done. They did turn the case over to an investigator, Grabowski, I think is the person's name, and I spoke with her on the phone initially for about 20 minutes, and she said that I did have a viable complaint and that they would investigate it. A week later, I called this Grabowski back because her phone number was on my cell phone's ID, and she hung up on me. I've tried to get in touch with the SPCA since to ask them what the problem is, and all I get is a recording on this. They also have a rabbit, a black and white rabbit. They keep in the main office in a 1 foot by 2 foot cage. I don't ever see this animal out of there. Maybe if they do come up in the afternoon, it's out for a little bit, but it's probably not out long enough. The animal should not be in a small cage like this, and that's my opinion, and I have a right to it. Apparently, everybody has dropped the ball here. Wrapping this up, I have petitioned the ADA in Washington, D.C. for my civil rights, the Americans with Disabilities Act in Washington also for my rights, the governor's office, the congressman's office, assemblymen's in my area, also the Attorney General, and also OSHA, the Department of Health, and the DEP. It has been it'll be a year in August, and everybody can seem to do nothing about any of this, leading me to believe that it's nothing more than political over a barn full of horses and somebody with a legitimate complaint. Last year, 3 women moved out because their horses were injured, and they were never informed by management, and they were told if they didn't like it here that they should leave. Those people also had the same issues and concerns that I have. However, it's easy for them to go and not for me. I don't think I should have to go. I think the problem needs to be fixed. The 2 boys that work for Misfit Farms are solely responsible for taking care of their horses. The one boy that is hired for Indian Hills Farms is responsible for taking care of my horse plus whatever other horses they may have here. However, I don't hold the boys responsible for the care of my animal. It is the responsibility of management to see that someone is here who can answer the phone when I call if I need to, or who can speak English, or tell if these animals are going to be sick, or even check on their water supply, which nobody does. Last month my horse was without water 1 or 2 days because I had been away on vacation and came back and found his water bucket had been empty and was at the other end of the paddock. Therefore, meaning that nobody checked on this animal to make sure he had water.